Aloha, everybody. This is Tiggy Maximus with Tiggy Maximus Talks, episode 155 on YouTube. Thank you guys for listening to this podcast, following, subscribing, and even donating to the podcast. If you want to donate, there is a link on my Spotify episode. You can make a donation of any amount you want. Anything's appreciated, guys. Just keep remembering to listen to the podcast, get those listener counts up, and let's make this a big deal of a podcast. So on episode 155, I'm going to talk about two comedy shows I went to last week. I went to a roast battle in the La Jolla Comedy Store. It's run by Pat Barker, Brian Moses, Gordon Downs, and of course, they work together with the Comedy Store manager in La Jolla, Mike Vinn, all great comics. This was actually a special show for me, because my sisters and my mom actually decided to go with me and see why I go to a lot of these comedy shows between San Diego and LA. So the first person they got to meet was Gordon Downs. I saw him, and then he came to my table, and then I introduced him to my sisters and my mom. And then Gordon Downs started the show, did some jokes at the beginning, did some jokes in between comics, and then had some interesting stuff to say for each of the roast battles and the roasters. So overall, I would say Gordon was 8.3 out of 10. As a host and for his jokes. He did call out one of the roasters for not telling any jokes, even though the whole point of this event, this particular show, was to write jokes about your opponent, or just write any jokes in general. So I think the person they were talking about was Hunter Jaffe. But more on that later. I believe who else was on the show was Grant Sampson. I met him before at Melissa Wiseman's show in Pacific Beach, and he works at the Comedy Store in La Jolla. He has some great jokes. He had a joke about how you've seen this one lady, and this lady was telling Grant he's the first guy to ever offer to wear a condom. He's such a gentleman. And apparently, given the fact that she's been with a lot of guys, he doubled down by saying, you know what, because I like you a lot, I'm going to wear 2 condoms. Better yet, only because, well, for one, she had a lot of partners, and you got to protect yourself. So that got a lot of laughs. He did pretty well. I would say Grant was an 8.5 out of 10. Got the crowd going. Good laughs. A lot of laughs from the people. Oh, and I was seated in the second row in the center because my sisters and my mom wanted to be there. Go figure. There's let's see who else. Oh, Raul Zambrano. He was on the lineup. My sister, who went with me to the Good Bar for Bijan and Frankie V's show. Raul Zambrano um, was there, and my sister remembered him. He has usual jokes about the motion sensors in the bathrooms, how they go out because you poop too long. He had his joke about trying to bribe a cop with a Target gift card. Um, he had a joke about being in an Uber with a driver that had alcohol in the car and driving past red lights. No cop, no stop. Um, he got some good laughs on that, and I would say it was an 8.4 out of 10 that night. Um, I believe I remembered seeing Mike Vin. Mike Vin talked about how he bought a Peloton bike because his girlfriend or wife um, had been shaking her breast in front of him to get him to buy stuff. But apparently, it doesn't work the other way. You can't shake something in front of your wife or your girlfriend to get something because they're going to be like disgusted. So, yeah, I guess it's kind of true. I would say Mike Vin, his comedy was kind of what I remembered from before. Kind of same thing with Raul. I think he might have had one new joke, but for Mike Vin, I think most of it, maybe he had one new joke, but crowd-wise, I think he was an 8.4 out of 10. And then I remember Brian Moses went up. He established the fact that one side of the room, his right side, was more energetic and more fun to talk to. The left side of him was pretty quiet. I was actually more on his left side. I think I might have been the only one who might have been laughing and had energy. I guess that side of the room was waiting for something to laugh at. So Brian Moses, I would say he did pretty well. I think he did 8.4 out of 10. And then I remember Pat Barker went up. He talked about how, I think he talked about how someone tried to tell him how to parent, and he wouldn't do it. I guess it's one of those things where it's either something you say to your kid, or you can't punish your kid like that or something. So I guess he ended by saying something like he wants his kids to be not only mature but also have, you know, have a strong backbone in a way and not be soft. So I remember that. Pat, I would say he was about an 8.5 out of 10. And then we had a guest comic. She used to be a porn star. She has a podcast right now. I think it's called Raw Sexy Funny, or Raw Funny Raw, or Sexy Raw Funny, or something like that. So her name is Silvia Saige. Silvia Saige. My first time seeing her, I actually didn't know who she was when she got on the stage, and then the intro, and then her set. I didn't realize that she used to be a porn star. And she said on Pornhub she has her own category. I guess it's MILFs. MILF. Um, at first, I thought she had more of an attitude when she started her set, and that's what I kind of thought her personality was like. But after her set and after the show, she was actually super nice to me. And we got a picture after the show. She's super cool to talk to. The reason why I thought she had a bit of an attitude was that she had asked this guy in the front row, front and center, what are the two questions that men tend to ask women? And I guess the first one is, what is your name, and what do you do for a living? So I think the guy said that, hi, how are you doing? Or how's your night going? Which, in my mind, I thought maybe was probably number one or two. But what do you do for a living, I guess, is kind of common or more popular than the other two. So then she goes talking about working in porn. Um, uh, I guess the look she gets at schools when she's picking up her kids, and then I guess when they talk about her, I guess also, um, yeah. And so I thought her set was all right. Um, First time seeing her, um, but you know, talking about your previous employment is sometimes a bread and butter for some people. So, and then talking about like life now with kids and how it's different, and um, I guess it's just how people behave towards her. I guess the yeah, behave differently. I guess also uh, how frustrated she gets um, in life now, stuff like that. And I would say she was a 8.3 out of 10. So she wasn't too bad. She did get some good laughs. Um, I didn't feel like she got. I felt like she didn't get everybody laughing, and I think my sisters had to interpret for my mom who she was and what she used to do. Um, but yeah, 8.3 from Silvia Saige. But again, she's a great person to talk to. I can't wait to see her again. I'm gonna listen to her podcast. Um, and then yeah. So that was a good like stand-up comedy, and then we got sort of the roast battles. So the roast battles, Gordon Downs kind of introduced who was going to be judges. Of course, you got your Mike Finn, Brian Moses, Pat Barker, and of course guest judges, ex porn star or maybe current porn star Silvia Saige, and then there was also the other porn star, big star in the industry, Alexis Fox. Um, Again, I didn't know who these two were, but I guess men, women, they actually know who they are, including one of the roasters. Um, let's see. Uh, so for the roasted, uh, I think who went up first? I believe it was uh, I think it was Melvin Hayes and Hunter Jaffe. They both did three jokes on each other. Well, Melvin did. I wasn't really sure what Hunter was trying to do, and I think Hunter kind of laid off on doing jokes with Melvin. Um, Either he didn't want to hurt his feelings, or he didn't want to use those jokes. It might be too either too racial or too mean. So he laid off on really doing any efforts into doing jokes, and Hunter won by a landslide. And the judges, including Gordon Downs, kind of, criticize Hunter for not really trying. So it kind of left a lot to be desired. Um, but yeah, Melvin Hayes won by landslide. Melvin Hayes had actually said something to Hunter about, I guess it was something like, Hunter looks like the guy who would jack off into his aunt's pantyhose or something. Aunt's pantyhose. Um, that was some good stuff from Melvin Hayes. I didn't get to talk to Melvin after the show though, but I did notice that he did like my my post involving him at the roast battle. So um, then we have, I believe it was Mimi Harris versus Dalina Horchata. That one was all right actually. I like that one. Um, I guess Mimi Harris had said something about Dalina Horchata is like a stage name and that she's made of rice and she's full of fat milk. Um, and I guess Delina said that the reason why Mimi got dumped is because of her clam chowder, because she's from Boston. Um, I mean, it was all right. It wasn't like the best roasting I've heard, but it was decent. And, some of it I got, and they actually went into overtime. And I believe uh, I don't know if Delina said something about her fashion, Mimi's fashion, or something about dating, but Mimi said that it was something like Delina looks like the wife of Shrek. So apparently that might have been good enough to win the roast battle. So Mimi Harris won in overtime. And actually, that was the first time Mimi won a roast battle. So I think she told me she's 1-3. Uh, I guess Delina's 0-2. So, anywho, there was one with Grant Bozeman and Lorenzo Amado. Um, I remember Grant said something that Lorenzo was wearing his girlfriend's picture on his T-shirt, and it was actually true. And I guess Grant said um, something about Lorenzo and um, I guess either jobs that he would do that white people wouldn't do, or said something about you know something about he might say something about lawnmowers. I don't know. Anywho, uh, uh, I think Lorenzo mentioned something about Grant and um, that he's not allowed like near schools, I guess. So that one was all right. I don't think the judges liked them too much. Um, I think one of the judges kind of gave a mercy point because Lorenzo wore his girlfriend's picture on his T-shirt. So, um, I mean, I thought it was all right. Uh, Grant Grant beat Lorenzo, and the last one was, I guess, the best one of the four. You got Alex Pellegrina versus Frankie Gonzalez. Um, um, I think Alex Pellegrino went in kind of angry. That's kind of like what he kind of put into the jokes, the roast. Um, I think Frankie Gonzalez did mention that Alex used to be an alcoholic and that he's a bartender. Um, uh, I think Alex mentioned about Frankie something about Columbia and how I guess he failed. He dropped out because he was supposed to be in journalism at Columbia, but and I guess at the end the judges had said, Frankie, do you still have that invite to go to Columbia for journalism? You should take it. So apparently they didn't like his roasting. So Alex had some good zingers on Frankie, from what I can tell, because it got the crowd laughing a lot. Um, uh, Also, the rebuttals were pretty good too. Um, so yeah, Alex beat Frankie. And what's great is that the crew for the roast battle, Brian Moses, Pat Barker, Gordon Downs, they invited Alex and Frankie to run it back up in Hollywood at the Comedy Store, which they do every Tuesday. And they also invited Melvin Hayes to go up as well. 3 of the 8 comics got invited, so that's pretty good. I would say the roast battle between Grant and Lorenzo, that was probably 8 out of 10. The one with Melvin Hayes and um, Hunter Jaffe, that was probably a 7.5 out of 10. Mimi and Alina, I think that was an 8. Um, I'd say 8.2 out of 10. And Alex and Frankie G, that was probably 8.6 out of 10. So overall, good show. It did kind of leave a little more to the left to be desired, but I mean, what can you do? Then, uh, I got some pictures with Silvia. I got some pictures with Frankie, Gordon, Mimi, and Ellis. Ellis was actually there too. I got to introduce Ellis to my sisters and my mom, and then of course there's Jesse Hogan, running sound. I got to introduce him to my sisters and my mom. So I would say my family had a good time. Um, and then I went to the mic drop on Thursday, January 4th. It was the Purple Jacket Showcase, and that was a good show. And it's hosted by Camille Waters. So, for those who don't know, the Purple Jacket is an honor at the mic drop. The mic drop staff and management, they recognize comics who either been having a lot of um, comedy sets, whether they're the headliner or produce a show or they're just on someone's lineup. They're there a lot and they recognize good comedy and they give them the Purple Jacket, induct them into their, I guess you could say, the Purple Jacket Honors Club or something. So the honor went to Cassidy Staines. She has a show at the Mic Drop, which I've yet to see, but I'll be willing to watch it sometime soon. And she got the headline in the Purple Jacket Showcase. Um, so Camille Waters started off the show. She did pretty well. She has some good jokes about skinny people barbecues and husband fighting homeless people. Um, she got a lot of laughs. I would say she was an 8.5 out of 10. Um, Then I think we got Jeff Grooms. Um, he talked about his name. He got good laughs with the crowd. I would say he was an 8.3 out of 10 for his set. We also got to see Alan Henderson, always a funny guy. He talked about how what are deal breakers for men and women. Is it a deal breaker if a man or woman wore a clown outfit to the uh, to the bedroom? He did talk about how he had sex on the rooftop. Um, he also had he also talked about his kids. So with all of that, he got a lot of laughs. Did pretty well with the crowd work, and I would say Alan was a 8.5 out of 10. We also got let's see, Camille, Jeff, Alan. Oh, we also got Mikey Perry. Um, Mikey Perry did really great crowd work. Um, awesome job he did. He got to focus on this one couple, but they say there are acquaintances with benefits, apparently. I guess they go to shows together. They used to be high school friends. They both got married. They both got divorced with other people. And they're hanging out now. And it seems like some of the comics were very curious about the couple. So, um, Mikey, I would say, was an 8.5 out of 10. He might have did like one joke. Otherwise, he did mostly crowd work. And then we got our headliner. Camille Waters brought out the purple jacket, grabbed it, came up to the stage, and handed it to Cassidy Staines and inducted her into the Purple Jacket Hall of Fame at Mic Drop. So that's pretty awesome to see. And Cassidy, she did some crowd work. She got to know more of that couple that I talked about, the one with the Friends with Benefits. And that was super hilarious. And she got a lot of people laughing. It was actually my first time seeing her, and I can tell that she is the real deal. And she talked about fish tacos in a slang type of way, and I didn't know fish tacos was slang for something. Apparently now I can't look at fish tacos the same way. So, yeah. Cassidy Staines, I'm going to give her an 8.8 out of 10. She did pretty well. So I got to talk to her after the show, got a picture. I'm glad. She's super fun to talk to. Got to talk to Camille. Got to talk to Jeff Allen, Mikey. So overall, great show. Great to take pictures of the crew that went up. Good night of comedy, really. All right. So I want to go over quickly NFL playoffs. The regular season had concluded. Chargers are number 5 in the draft now. Top 5 pick, which is great. They're going to go defensive lineman or maybe get Brock Bowers, the tight end from the Georgia Bulldogs. I think he was part of 2 national championship teams. So if the Chargers get him, that would be awesome. If not, at least the Chargers will be in the run-in to get Jim Harbaugh. He just won the national championship with Michigan Wolverines last night. Beat Washington Huskies 34-13. Did pretty well with the offense, did pretty well with the defense, and they were clutch. And I can't wait to see if Jim Harbaugh will be coaching the Chargers in 2024. Cross my fingers. Um, yeah, the Chargers lost to the Kansas City Chiefs 13-12 on a late field goal. So the Chargers are locked into the number 5 pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. So can't wait to see that. And with that, so the seeding goes, the number 1 seed in the AFC is the Baltimore Ravens. They get first round bye. The second seed is the Buffalo Bills. They'll beat the Dolphins on the last day of the season, clinched the AFC East title, got the number 2 seed. The Chiefs got the number 3 seed. They clinched the AFC West division. The 4 seed is the Houston Texans. They won on Saturday. They beat the Colts. And that was paired with the fact that Jacksonville Jaguars lost to the Tennessee Titans. It's weird because the Jaguars were in first place in the South for almost 17 weeks. And the last loss was the most costly one to lose because they got taken out of the playoffs altogether. They choked. And who got in? The Pittsburgh Steelers. So the 5 seed is the Cleveland Browns. 6 seed is the Dolphins. They fell from 2 to 6. And the 7 seed belongs to the Pittsburgh Steelers, who were hot at the right time. They beat the Bengals. They beat the Seahawks. And they beat the Ravens to get that 7th spot. So with the playoff matchups, Steelers, the 7th seed, they're going to visit the Buffalo Bills, number 2 seed. The Kansas City Chiefs, number 3, they'll be playing the number 6 seed, the Dolphins, Miami Dolphins. And then the Houston Texans, the 4 seed, will be hosting the number 5 seed, Cleveland Browns. It looks like the Browns don't have a kicker. They're going to have to get another kicker. Anywho, so I think what's going to happen, the Browns will beat the Texans, the Chiefs will beat the Dolphins, and the Bills will beat the Steelers. And if that happens, the Ravens will play the Browns, and the Bills will play the Chiefs. I think the Ravens will beat the Chiefs, and then Ravens will go to the Super Bowl. On the NFC side, top seed is the 49ers. The 2 seed is the Dallas Cowboys. The 3 seed is the Detroit Lions. 4 seed is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 5 seed is the struggling Philadelphia Eagles, lost 6-7. And their quarterback, Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, are both hurt. Their 2 star players are hurt. And they weren't going to overtake the Dallas Cowboys. So they kind of screwed themselves. Not only hurting themselves, but, now it looks like the Buccaneers might actually beat the Eagles. But I think the Eagles might pull it out. So we'll see. The 6th seed is the LA Rams. They're been pretty hot now. They just beat the 49ers on the last day to make sure they kept the number 6 seed. Then the Green Bay Packers, they beat the Chicago Bears and clinched the 7th seed. So in doing so, with the win, they eliminated the Saints and the Seahawks. So the Cowboys will be hosting the Packers. I think Cowboys win that one. The Lions will host the Rams. I think the Rams will get the upset and beat the Lions. And the Eagles will beat the Buccaneers, but barely. And then that means the 49ers will play the Rams. And the Cowboys will play the Eagles. I think the Cowboys will beat the Eagles. And then the 49ers will beat the Rams. And the 49ers will beat The 49ers will beat the Cowboys. And so the Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas is going to be Ravens versus 49ers. And I think the Ravens will beat the 49ers to win Super Bowl 58. So there you have it, guys. Those are my thoughts on the NFL playoffs. Let's do comedy reviews. I'm going to a comedy show tonight at Galleys in Chula Vista on Marina Parkway, I believe. They have comedy, Taco Tuesday, um, uh, comedy, open mic, karaoke, and Taco Tuesday. That is quite a, what do you call it? A quadruple, uh, is it quadfecta? I don't know. Anywho, should be a good time. Adrian Ace Diaz, the DJ, um, it's his show. So, and I guess Tommy Lacerda is gonna be also hosting. So that's a lot of fun. I can't wait to go. Anywho, make sure you guys have some good food, good drinks, good company. Watch some good action and watch some good comedy shows. So you know the saying goes, guys. Boom. Tiggy Maximus signing off. Baby. Booyah!